In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at some Gutenberg blocks using the Getwid plugin and the Getwid Base theme. And we're going to import some demo content. And this demo content that we're going to look at looks like it's created with a legit page builder like Elementor or Divi or Brizy, but it's not. It's built in Gutenberg with this awesome set of blocks. So we're going to check these out in this tutorial. If you like this kind of video, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any in the future, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or if you just want to say hi. And lastly, like the video. My name is Bjorn Allpass in WP Learning Lab, and we're getting started right now. We're starting today with a plain Jane vanilla WordPress site. Nothing installed aside from the standard WordPress fare. Under posts, hello world, pages have privacy and sample page. Our appearance and themes, just the regular themes. I'm going to click on add new to add the Getwid theme. This is what we want right here. I'm going to click on install and then activate. Now we have our new theme. It's saying we need to install some plugins, the Getwid plugin and the one-click import plugin. I'm going to install both of those by clicking on here, choosing both by clicking this checkbox up here, then choose install from the bulk actions, click on apply, and now they're both installed. I'm going to activate both, select them both again, bulk actions, activate and apply. Now they're both ready to rock and roll. So the Getwid theme that we install first, that is the base of operations for the Getwid widgets. The Getwid widgets are all located inside the Getwid plugin right here. There are 24. I'm going to show you all of them in this tutorial. And the one-click demo import allows you to import widgets and demo content and demo settings so you can get started faster and see how great these can look once they're completed. So first we're going to import some demo data. Let's go to Appearance and then Import Demo Data. Click on Import Demo Data at the bottom. I recommend you do this on a new site. This is not something you want to do necessarily on a live site. You could use the Getwid plugin on a live site, just don't import the demo data because you never know what it's going to overwrite. If you do end up importing demo data on a live site, make sure you do a backup first. So then you can restore if anything goes wrong. And we have one import issue, just a logo, and I think it should be fine without that. If we go to our media library, we've got a lot of images now. And our pages, we have a lot more pages, a lot of posts. If we refresh out here, we have a new homepage. Now when you look at this homepage, you might be wondering, oh, which page builder did they use to build this homepage? That's quite nice. That's a great looking homepage. Well, they use Gutenberg. These blocks are Gutenberg blocks, and Getwid is used to extend the functionality of Gutenberg. And I gotta say, it looks pretty amazing. It looks like a page builder built it, but it's in Gutenberg. And the plugin's free. Gutenberg's free. It's all free. So before we get into the technical nitty-gritty of actually creating these things, let's just take a look at some of the samples. So under simple blocks, we have the ability to add icons. Here they are. Add different effects, hover effects to these icons. We have icon boxes. These look a lot like page builder style icon boxes. We have image boxes. Again, very much like page builders. Social links. Not too much variation between different applications on those. The banner blocks, these are quite nice with the hover effects. A nice little frame that appears when you hover. Words coming in, images moving when you hover. Very nice effects on those. Image sliders. And again, we're used to seeing these in page builders, but keep in mind this is inside Gutenberg that these are all built. This takes Gutenberg to another level. So if you want to maybe try getting away from page builders, not being so dependent on them because they are kind of slow and clunky, this might be a good way to go. This cool overlapping image gallery, masonry style images. The advanced spacer allows you to add space between blocks. Advanced blocks are sections. These are very nicely designed, nicely laid out, and all in Gutenberg, point and click. Let's see, media text and slider. Looks very nice. Google Maps, we have to add a Google Maps API to make this work, so that's not working yet. Advanced headings. Use Google Fonts and customize headings whichever way you want. The Gutenberg default header or heading, the default heading block for Gutenberg leaves a lot to be desired, and this one helps. This one definitely levels it up. accordions with different options for what to show on the left or the right on these accordion boxes. Tabs, very similar to accordions, only in tabs, vertical and horizontal. Toggle, also very similar, only we can have them all open. Accordions have one open, the rest close. Tabs, you can have them all open if you want. Recent posts, pulls in nicely laid out recent posts, horizontal and vertical options. Testimonial widgets, very nice. People, like for a team page or an about page, very nice layout for the different people descriptions. Typography shows you all the data about typography and different types and block quotes and headings and tables. Pretty normal stuff, but it's in there just to show you how it works with this plugin. The blog, nicely laid out blog. We've got a lot of blog posts here. If we go to continue reading, we go to the blog post, and there it is. Very nice. The about page, nicely created. Looks like a regular page builder built this, but it was Gutenberg. And last one, contacts, just a couple contact widgets, and here's the ability to go and download these things. So now we've seen how they all look. Let's get into the nitty-gritty and see how they work. So let's go into dashboard again. Before getting the Gutenberg blocks, let's just take a look at the customizer, because this theme, like many others these days, offers a lot of customization for your theme and for site-wide settings. We have site identity options where you can change the logo and the text that appears up here and add a site icon at the top. Colors, header text, background color. These are site-wide, keep in mind. Change our header image. Add a background image if we want. Customize our menus and where they appear. Customize the widgets in the footer. Some homepage settings here, pretty standard. We have a static homepage which was set to this one here. Some more footer options. Here we can enter our copyright information, and this little code enters the year for you automatically. It doesn't in the live preview, but it does on the live site. If we go to the live site, let's just take a look, see if it's actually true. And yeah, there it is, 2019. And then if I look in the preview in here, it doesn't show it, it shows those characters. We have the additional CSS option if we want to do that. So there's a lot of options inside the customizer where you can customize this theme further, but the real power is in the blocks. If we go to pages, we have all the blocks here. If I go to add new to add a new page to play with these blocks, let's just call this Getwid blocks. Click on Save Draft. If I click on plus over here and then collapse this, go down to the bottom, we have the Getwid blocks area, and here we have our 24 blocks that we can add. And we saw them all just a moment ago, and click on any one of them. Let's start with a section, and we have our new section right in here. Now the section is not really a content block, it's more of a layout design block. So it really helps you design your layouts the way you want them to be. You can have boxed, you can have full width, you can also have custom, so you can set the size of the block if you want to. I like to have full width, that's a pretty standard for sites these days. We can also change the height of the block if we want a full height of the website. You can also change the section height if we want, and we can define this for desktop, tablet, and mobile. With this option, we can set the spacing inside the section. This makes more sense when you have something in there, and you can actually adjust the spacing and watch what happens in the preview over here. We can adjust the padding on all devices, margin for all devices. We can change the alignment of this section for all devices, change the background color. We have background gradient, background image, background slider, background video, a lot of background options. The foreground, we can have foreground color, gradient, image. You can add dividers. You can have entrance animations. And under advanced, we can make this an HTML anchor, meaning that if this block is, or this section is lower down on the page, we can have a menu item that links to this section. So the section widget, like I said, is a layout widget. There's no real content inside the widget aside from some colors, maybe a background image. but it allows you to do a whole lot of stuff. And inside of the section is where we can add blocks. So if I click on the plus icon here, we can again find our Getwid blocks and add, for example, a media and text slider. I'm just going to quickly add some images. Going to go to the media library, and I'm going to add this one. Add some text here. Hello world. Not very creative today. Go to the media library, add another one. I'm going to call this one blue hair, and then add another one for the third slide, and let's use this one. And the title will be yellow desk. And just that easily, we have a slider. If I publish this and take a look at our page, we have our slider right here. Still a lot more customizations to be done using the options on the right-hand side inside of document. The biggest drawback of Gutenberg, I find, is it's not what you see is what you get. Today's modern page builders, when you're building the page inside the editor like we are here, generally what you're seeing on the page where you're building it is what you get on the front end. With Gutenberg, it's not so. And I think that's the major weakness with Gutenberg and why it will never fully overcome page builders, but it might, because they could program that, right? I mean, page builders programmed it, why can't Gutenberg program it? Either way, we can customize our slides, we can add more slides, we can change the image sizes, we can change the height, we can change the content width, which is the text in the middle here. If we shrink this way down, you'll see it going on multiple lines because there's not enough space. We can change the alignment, change the text color. Nice overlay color for the background image. Slide settings, we can have it slide or fade, make it a slideshow, which means it auto plays. Animation speed is 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So when you click the arrow or when the slideshow progresses to the next slide, it takes 1 second for that to happen. You can have text animation set right here. And under advanced, we can add some CSS classes if you want to do further CSS. Now what I find is a great option to do is to add into here our Getwid block for our advanced heading, because the advanced heading allows so much more flexibility for the heading itself. For our heading here, it's an H2, and there's really not a whole lot of customization options. We can make it H1 through 6, we can align it, we can make it an anchor, but we can't do much else. Whereas the advanced heading down here, we can make it heading 2 through 6, make it a paragraph or a span. We can change the font family. See if we can find a crazy one in here. I don't know any crazy ones off the top of my head. I'm just going to randomly pick. Okay, nothing too crazy. But either way, you have all these font options you can choose from. You can customize the typography for the regular header inside of the customizer, but there's no way you get as many as you do with the Google Fonts. You can change the weight, the size, the style, which is italic or not, the transform, which is uppercase, lowercase, capitalized or not. You can change the weight. I said earlier, I didn't describe what that was, but that is the bolding of the font. So how bold it is. 700, the font is much thicker, and lower numbers, it's much thinner. You can change the line height, line spacing, colors, just like we could before. You can give it a background color if we wanted. Let's clear that background, give it padding, give it margin, which is the spacing around the text, then add a custom CSS class. So all that to say, using the advanced headings, we can have much nicer headings than we can with just the regular heading block inside of Gutenberg. Let's add the next widget in down below by clicking on the plus icon. Collapse most used, go to Getwid blocks, and let's add in the image slider, which is a lot like the slider above, just with images. We have the options on the left here. To add our images, we just go to Media Library and just pick a bunch of images to add. Click on Create New Gallery. You can reorder them on that screen, and here we have our new gallery slider. We may not want it that high. Luckily, we can adjust all kinds of things. We can adjust the image size. We can crop the images. We can link images to places. We can change the number of slides that are shown based on device type, desktop, laptop, tablet, mobile, and scroll. You can enable slideshow, which means it's going automatically. You can have it loop infinitely. You can set the speed, make it center mode, make it variable width if you want. For the controls, you can have the arrows on the inside or on the outside. Dots that you see below here, these ones here on the inside or the outside. Under advanced, you can add a CSS class if you want for more CSS styling capabilities. And when you change the image size, it's not actually changing the size of the image, it'll change the quality. So you have the size of your slider that you see here. If we choose the image size as thumbnail, you see it's really pixelated. If you choose medium, it's not much better. If we choose large, it's much better, much clearer with large. So that's the image slider block. Let's add another block. Let's add the next one, which is the icon. Now, icons, pretty self-explanatory. They are icons. You can select the icons here. There's 128 pages of icons built in. So this set right here is one page, and there's 128 of those pages. And you can filter based on various things. So let's look for Halloween. Halloween cat. Very nice. We have a little cat right here. Now we can choose whether it's just the icon, which is just what we see here. We can give it a background, which means we add a background color, and then it's circled with that background color. Or we give an outline, and there we have our cat. Let's make the cat purple. The outline is the same color as the icon itself, and the background, of course, is the background color you choose here. You can change the size. We can make it 100 pixels. And now the ear is touching right on the edge there, which might be a nice look. Or you can change the spacing to give it some more space. That's too much. That's pretty good. Change the border width if you want. Change the border radius. You can have it like a box, like a round a corner box, or even a perfectly square box. It's up to you. You can give it a link. So this can link to somewhere else. It can open a new tab if you want. You can give it a snazzy little hover animation. Maybe it flashes the flash cat when you hover over it. It's like a party. You could add some margin, give some spacing around the sides, and of course the additional CSS class whenever you want to. And all these settings stay the same if you change icons. So if I didn't like that cat, maybe I want to have whatever this is. House of Cards falling apart. Now we have all the same settings already applied. The next block, let's go for the icon box, which is kind of the same thing, just a small extension of it. We have our icon up here with the same settings that we just saw for the icon here. And we have our headline. Let's just call it my info and say, this is my excellent info. And icon boxes like this make the most sense in columns. So if we want to add a column, let's just look up the column block, add that in. Now we have a column right here. I'm just going to drag and drop our icon box into that column. And now we have it inside of our column. It makes so much more sense having a little narrower. And then you add another one in the next column over. And then I'll just duplicate this one and then drag and drop it into the column beside. And now we have our multi-column icon box. Want to add another column? Just click on the 6 dots here and then add more columns and then duplicate whatever it is you have again and then drag and drop it over. Now we have 3 columns. So that's how we do columns, and I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of these things. Even these icons make more sense in a column. I only showed one, but make more sense in a column, just like the icon boxes. Now let's add another one. The next one on the list, the banner. I like the banner a lot. Let's look up an image in the media library. I really like the image that they had here. I think it was this image actually. We write a headline, nice pencils. And I love that hover effect. I love the image shrinking and the text appearing on the hover effect. You want to adjust those effects. You can do all of it on the right hand side. Pick the image size. Again, that's for blurriness of the image. This one's a little bit blurry. You can see. Change the alignment, change the height of the block itself, change the height of the content. Block animation. There's Gemini. That's a nice one. How about Aries? Pretty subtle. Taurus. I like the Taurus. Gemini we did. Cancer was the original one. Leo. I like that one as well. I think I prefer Taurus. I like that border being drawn in. And the text animation, how do you want it to fade in? You can choose right here. You can fade in, it can fade in up, fade in down, left, right, zoom in, zoom out. But I quite like how it is right now. And then to finish it off, we can add some colors. This is the text color. So we have some purple colors here. And we have image overlay color. So we can brighten it, darken it, however we want to do that. Just going to keep it as is. And advanced, as always, add a CSS class for more CSS. And when you link this image to somewhere, by adding a link right here, then we can click on the open a new tab, and that link will open in a new tab if we want it to. All right, next up, we have the tabs. The tabs, the accordion, and the toggle are pretty much all the same. Here we can enter how many items we want. I'm going to choose 3, and we have the tabs along the top. We can add another one if we want. Just click on that plus, and then when we click inside of these, we see this content change from content 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can add our text content right in here. It does not appear that we can add blocks in here, but we can just add text content. And then on the right-hand side, we have the ability to change the title to be a paragraph tag or a heading tag. Change the layout from horizontal, left, center, right, and vertical, left or right. That just moves the position of the tabs. Default tab is the one that's open by default when the page loads, and then the custom CSS class. Now the accordion, we're going to look at next because it's pretty similar. Here's the accordion. Again, choose number of items, create it, and we have our accordion here. We just change the text by typing right in here. Make that number 1. Make this number 1. That's how easy it is to change the text. We can change the icon, which is on the left here. This is the icon when it's not active. So element 2 and 3 are not active, so it's a plus. And the active icon is a minus. And we can change that to those 128 pages of icons that we had before. So you can make the active or inactive icon this number 5. Looks like a 5. And then make the active one the Amazon logo, for example. Change the position of the icon, left or right. Change the tags. Which one by default is open? You set that here. And then we add a CSS class if we want to. Then the toggle is very similar to the last two. It's right here. Choose number of items. I'm going to choose 3 again. And the main difference is the accordion, whenever you click on a new option, the previous option closes. Whereas when you toggle, you can have them all open at the same time. That's the biggest difference. All the settings will be the same on the right-hand side for the icons, icon position, things like that. All right, let's add another one. Let's go to the image stack library. This one I find very interesting. Let's just choose a bunch of images and see how they stack. Create a new gallery. You can reorder them if you want to, just by clicking, dragging, and dropping. Insert the gallery. And here we have our image stack laid out in the masonry grid. You can change the style from default, which is that one, to alpha, where they overlap quite a bit, to beta, to gamma. These ones are hard to see because they're both pretty much the same colors. These ones are the easiest to see. Delta, epsilon, and zeta. It's all different kinds of ways to lay out these images to make them visually interesting on the site without a lot of work on your end. Because doing this with custom CSS or even a page builder like Elementor would be a fair amount of work. I'm going to keep it on zeta. Actually, I like that one. Okay, now we're going to add another one. Let's add the recent posts block. Here it shows our recent posts. These posts were imported by the plugin, so that's why we see some here. I didn't create them. We can choose to have them show up as a list or a grid. I prefer the grid layout myself. Choose number of columns. 3 looks pretty good. Keep the title. You can change the heading for the title of the post. You can add in the featured image. Choose the size. If it's pixelated, like for example, add thumbnail, that's not good. But then maybe the medium one would be okay. And if you choose the large one, those are larger file sizes, so it'll take longer to load. So you want to pick the right size that is a balance between being pixelated and being not too big in file size. You can crop the images or not. That's done automatically. You can display the excerpt, which makes these widgets quite big. Reduce the number of words. Let's put it down to there. Automatically adds the dots at the end, the ellipse. So that's a nice touch. Choose to display the date and the category it's published in and the comments, and then newest to oldest, oldest to newest, A to Z, Z to A, alphabetically or opposite alphabetically. You can choose posts from just one specific category. You can choose the number of items it pulls in. 6 looks more even. And we have 3 and 3. And of course, as always, custom CSS. And for this one, we also have the HTML anchor, so we can make links right down to this area. And these will be automatically linked to the post itself. So you don't have to worry about that. Just worry about the design and how it looks. Let's check out the next block. Let's see. The image box. A lot of blocks with images. Let's choose. I like the yellow ones in this case, or the highly colorful ones, because we contrast with the background. And that image is quite large. Just going to choose a smaller one so it fits better in the area. And just like the icon box block, we can add a heading in here, and we add the text down here, and then we have an image block set up nicely. And again, this is better with columns, in my opinion. Having multiple columns of these in a row looks quite nice. And all the settings we just saw a moment ago, there aren't too many settings for this one. Image size, what happens to the image when you hover, what happens on mobile. You can have the column layout or reverse column order. That means on mobile, the column that's on the right is going to be on the top if you choose reverse column order. And mobile alignment, you can choose left, right, and center. You can add a link to these image blocks, and then margins for spacing around the image and our CSS classes. Next, we have the advanced spacer, which allows you to add space. Nothing too amazing about this one, except for sometimes it's hard to add space exactly where you want it. And you can hide these on various devices. So if you find you have a spacing issue on mobile, you can just add one of these space options and say hide on desktop, hide on tablet. Then it'll only be spacing on mobile, and then you can solve your spacing issues that way. And the next block we're going to look at is social links. Now these guys are pretty much like in-page builders. You can add more social links really easily. Select the icon. I couldn't find a social option in here, but brands is pretty close. And you can find whatever brand it is you're looking for, or you can search for it. Here we have YouTube. Gonna add that in. Oh, it's already right there. Let's find a different one. See, they have Pinterest. There's Pinterest. And they have different designs. They have the circular one without a background and the square one, so you can choose the one that fits better with whatever it is you're designing. And let's see if we can find WhatsApp. There we go. Now we have our icons in here. And then as you saw, when you click on any one of these, you can add the link to where they go. So you want to add your page here and open a new tab probably. And on the right hand side, we also have some options for color. These options are applied to all of them. You can align them differently on different devices. You can give them backgrounds like so. I'm just going to move these social icons up one, so they're more in the middle of the page. It's going to add more space to the spacer. There we go. So here we go, social icons again. You can make them outlined instead of a background if you want. Change the spacing. And change the size. Those are the options for the icons. Now we can add another block right below that, and it's going to be the button group. Who doesn't like buttons? Buttons with calls to action. Click on the button, you can add a link. Pretty easy. All design options for the link are on the right hand side. Under styles, we can use pre-built styles, outline, default, squared, change the color, change the text color inside of it. Under advanced, we have a CSS class already applied, and those are our button options. You can have as many as you want in a row and keep adding them. And then we'll go in 2 lines once it's wider than the available space. But you can keep adding buttons and keep customizing them as needed. And then we can add another block after that, which will be a testimonial block. This image that we put up here is going to be the image for the testimonial. Just use this guy. Puts a nice little circle, gives an outline. And this is my testimonial right there. Look at me. I wrote this. There's a testimonial, probably not the best testimonial on the planet, but it works. And we can add a CSS class. And aside from that, there's nothing else we can do. So the image you add in here needs to be the right size for that spot. And testimonials, I think, are also great ones to have in columns, just to make them more spatially appealing, I would say. Next block we're going to do is the person. Let's add a person. These nice little images already provided for us, which is nice. And that's huge. Let's click on crop image to shrink that down to size. Here we have social icons for this person. Same settings as social icons before. This is actually the social icon block that's been added automatically. And then we have our heading and subtitle and text for this individual as well. So then we can create team pages and about us pages that have nice team layouts and team pictures. The next block we're going to look at is Instagram. Here we can connect our Instagram account. All you have to do is click on Connect Instagram Account, follow simple instructions, and then come back here and click on Update, and then it'll pull in your Instagram feed from your Instagram account. Next block we're going to look at progress bar. As all progress bars, they grow from 0 to whatever percentage you add in here. Give us a heading, how I ski, or how well I ski. 75%, that's higher. It was a lot better when I was younger. I probably skied at a 28% level right now. Change the color of the bar, change the background color. You have the colors match your brand or whatever it is you're designing. And add a CSS class, and that is the options for the progress bar. You can of course duplicate this and then create multiple stacked on each other, which is the way you commonly see these on websites. The next block we're looking at is the circular progress bar. Same idea, only we're going in a circle. We can change the value. Nice and easy. We can change the size. Change the thickness of the bar. Whatever suits your brand. We can animate it or not. If you don't animate it, it just shows up at 47%. If you do animate, it goes to 0 or starts at 0, then goes to 47. Change the colors as before and add a CSS class. One thing you'll notice, I wasn't able to add a title to this. So you want to have a heading block above the circular progress bar so people know what exactly it is you're progressing in. Let's add another block. Aren't too many left. The counter. Same idea as the progress bars, except they're counting. There's no bar. So here you have a prefix, which could be how many donuts I ate. And then down here I'm going to say today. And the answer is not 100. The answer is actually 0. But that doesn't make for a, not 1,000 either. That doesn't make for a very good update when you scroll down to here. So I'm going to say I ate 68 donuts today. Here we set how long the animation goes. So if you have this at 1 second and you have 1,000 as the ending number, it's going to blow through those really fast. If you have this at 5 seconds and you're only going to 10, it goes pretty darn slow. So in my opinion, you have to change the animation duration based on how many you're counting up to, just to make it make sense, to make it not go too slow or too fast. Change the colors here. You can, of course, on all these color options, add a custom color. There we go. That's a nice pink right there. If you don't like your color choice, click on clear and then try again, or just click on a different color and try again. You can add a CSS class here for advanced CSS, just like always. Let's add another block. This time the price box. Who doesn't like price boxes? This is another one that's great for columns. So here you could have personal membership. So you want to click into all these areas and add in what you actually want there. So I'm going to add a $. As you can see, it gets darker. I'm going to say 99 and then per month. And down here we can write the text. So we just explain what this is. Personal membership is a membership just for you. Then you can add button text. I'm going to say buy now. That's great button text. And then this again is one that's great for columns. So you could have a pricing table laid out here. You can have this, of course, on multiple lines. Let's see, benefit, benefit, benefit. So you have this on multiple lines, and then you can have columns and have different levels of memberships all side by side, like you see on pricing tables all over the internet. And the very last block I want to add is the Google Maps. I waited to the end. You probably saw me skipping over this over and over because there's some API key stuff we have to do to make this work. We need to click on Get Your API Key. Then we need to follow these instructions. I already have a Google account. You have to create a Google account if you don't have one yet. Go to the Google Cloud Platform console, click on the hamburger icon, click on APIs and Services, click on Credentials, click on Create Credentials, Create API Key. Here we have our API key. Need to restrict the API key, which means we basically say where it's going to be used and where it's allowed to be used. So we choose a website, then we enter the website URL, and we choose restrict key, and we choose the Maps Embed API. And then for the URL, my site is this right here. Add item, put it in there, done. Click on save, and now we have our API key created. Then the top right, you want to click on activate. Otherwise, your API keys will not be activated. Have to go through some steps here. You can use it for free, but you have to go through all these steps. Choose your country, agree to the terms of service, choose if you want to have the email updates or not, click on continue, and then we have to add our credit card details. Even though I just said it's free, it actually is free. But if you go above a certain limit, they charge you. Every time the map loads, the map is changed, it requires Google to do something on their servers. So if you have a company the scale of Google's and a product the size of Google Maps, and the scale of Google Maps, there's a lot of people using this software, and when you overuse it, they then charge you for it. So I fill in all my details, then let's click on Start My Free Trial. And again, you're not going to be charged immediately to use this. It's just if you make too many API calls. And then we come to our API page, and we should be ready to go. We should be able to copy our APIs. Let's go back to our API services and credentials and copy the one we created. Should be able to paste that in here. And then we have our map right here. We can set the zoom and the map location on the right-hand side under Map Center and Zoom. You can set the zoom value, center latitude, center longitude if you know what those are, or you can just navigate to somewhere. So if we just zoom into, let's say, Italy, let's go to Rome. You see the numbers changing on the right-hand side. We're at zoom level 9 now. We started at 2. Now we're at 10. And we can command click and scroll. And as we do that, you can see the center latitude and longitude changing as we move the map around. So whatever place we zoom into and then save, that'll be where the map appears on the front end of the site, which is pretty handy. Now we also have some more options up here. We can change the map height to suit your needs. You can prevent zoom on page scroll, which means when people are scrolling down a page, it doesn't zoom into the map automatically. It'll have a message like this where it says use command for Mac or control for Windows plus scroll to zoom the map. You can turn that off and on here. You can disable zooming and panning on the map. You can enable it if you want. You can show the zoom ability with these plus and minus icons. You can turn those on and off. You can turn the map type on and off at the top, so you can choose map or satellite, depending what you set here. And the reason you see this overlap is because I'm zoomed in on this computer, just to make my work here a little more clear, so it's easier to see on smaller devices. It would not happen like this on regular zoom levels. You can turn Street View on and off, full screen options on and off. For the style, you can choose a style for the map. This is something I haven't seen very often. The Google map I most commonly see is the one you see here. And you can change it to a different style. There's a bunch of built-in ones. This one's the silver style. And we have retro and dark and a bunch more built-in styles. We can also do a custom style, which allows us to paste some code right here in this box, and that will change the style of the map. You can get these styles by going to the Google Maps styling wizard, open that in a new tab. We're going to open up Snazzy Maps in a new tab. So here in Google Maps, you can customize your own style by just changing the options you see here, picking colors, things like that. And then you can embed that map by clicking on Finish. Then you just copy this whole piece of code right here. Copy all of that. And then paste that into this box right here. Boom. There's our new map style. That simple. Snazzy Maps has a bunch of predefined ones. So the Google Maps option allows you to create your own. Here's a bunch of predefined ones that may be different from the ones that are built into the plugin, like this black and white one, for example. Click on that, and here's the code on the left. Copy this code. I have to click on Expand, Collapse down at the bottom. Make sure you get all of it. Click on Copy. Delete this one. Paste the new one in. Make sure you delete any bits of text, like right here. Need more help? I accidentally copied too much information, copied this line down here. So it's not going to work. So let's delete that. And now our color is applied. If you have a missing bracket, say this bracket's missing at the end or the beginning, it doesn't work. It doesn't show an error message, just doesn't work. So make sure you have the code exactly as it should be, and then that style will be applied. Now the very cool feature, as if those aren't cool enough, the coolest feature I think is the ability to drop markers on the map really easily. You just press this button right here, and then you click wherever you want. Let's say we click right here, and that's my favorite pizza place. Shows the address here. I'm just going to say favorite pizza place at, and that's the location. And this content will appear when someone hovers over the marker. You can have this open by default if you click this button. You can change the width. You can change the location of it. I'm going to click on Save, and now we have that open by default. Click on it. We can edit it on the right-hand side under Markers. My fave pizza place, let's have that closed by default. So now when someone comes to the page, the marker will be there, but they'll have to click on it to see it. And I think that is pretty awesome. You can add as many markers as you want. So add another one right here. Let's call this Soccer Camp, the best soccer camp at that location. Click on Save. Now let's click on Update and see how this map looks on the front end. Let's go to View Page. Scroll down. And here is our fancy pants map with our markers on it and the custom style that we have. Click on these markers. The pop-up opens and says whatever that message is that you wrote into that little text field. And you don't have to have the address there. It's just auto-filled. You can put whatever you want in there. And then you can zoom in and look at the exact location of that pizza place, which looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. Let's go to satellite. Yeah, it's in a field. So we have a pizza place in a field. That one's my favorite. And that is how we can add markers and add really cool maps. And you'll notice the labels stayed the same. So this isn't the default label design or default road color. When we change back to map and satellite, the styles that we applied are applied across those two, and even on terrain. The styles that we set apply to all different map types. So that brings us to the end of all the blocks you can get with Getwid. If you don't have this plugin yet, but you want to see what Gutenberg can do, what it's capable of, I recommend you check it out. It's free. Go to this link, it's in the description down below, or just download it from the WordPress repository inside your WordPress site, and you can get this for free, like I said, and play around with these awesome blocks. I highly recommend it. You saw all the blocks in this video. They are pretty awesome. You can pretty much build a great looking page builder like page using Gutenberg and this plugin. So that's how it works. If you like what you saw, I encourage you to check out the free Getwid plugin and the free Getwid Base theme and see if that works for your site or your next project. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Like and comment down below. And then check out this video up here where I show you the top 10 mistakes I see WordPress sites making over and over and over again in regards to security. And this video down here is the one YouTube thinks you should watch. And until next time, my name is Bjorn Allpass from WP Learning Lab. Keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.